The best way to improve your prompting skills is to see them working together, not scattered as one-offs. In this video, I will walk you through 6 practical prompting tricks using ChatGPT. We'll apply them to one real challenge: how AI could affect your job and how to adapt. We will move together from confusion to insight to action. By the end, you'll have a reusable workflow for any complex decision: career moves, business ideas, or industry choices. Let me set the stage before we dive in. The task is simple but big. How will AI impact your work, and what should you actually do about it? To answer that with confidence, we will use a connected approach. I've split the process into 3 stages with 6 prompt tricks. Stage 1, exploration and setup, gives us clarity using 3 tricks to turn vague questions into solid foundations. Stage 2, analysis and creative reframing, gives us strategy. Use 2 tricks to stress test features and flip weaknesses into strength. Stage 3, action and implementation, where the final trick translates strategy into concrete steps. The power of this workflow is that each trick builds on the last. Stage 3 only works because of the groundwork we do in stage 1 and 2. Because each stage uses a different kind of thinking, you'll walk away with 6 distinct prompting techniques. You can reuse them for other big decisions. We'll use a project manager with marketing and user experience expertise as our example throughout. Alright, let's dive into stage 1, exploration and setup. The goal of this stage is simple: turn the ambiguity into clarity. We'll use 3 prompting tricks to turn messy thoughts into sharp prompts. Everyone knows AI will impact our jobs. The first thing people usually type into ChatGPT is how will AI impact a role in a timeline? That beginner prompt gives ChatGPT almost no context. The underlying issue here is scope. Asking AI's impact on project manager is like asking, how do I get healthy, when you actually need, how do I lose 10 pounds in 3 months with a busy schedule? If I want answers that actually shape my career, I need prompts with richer context and sharper constraints. You can pick any prompt formula to get the ball rolling, as long as it helps you structure rich context. I will just use my craft formula. I will ask these key questions like, who am I? Who should ChatGPT act as? What exactly should it do? How should the answer be structured? What style do I want? I've made a full video explaining the craft method with examples if you want to go deeper. I'll link it below. Since this is a demo, I've filled in specific details about the role and the situation to make it realistic. After filling out the answer with Craft's framework, here's the prompt. Let's take a look at what ChatGPT gives us. Now I get specific tasks from my actual role: user research synthesis, requirements documentation, competitive analysis. But more importantly, it's organized exactly how I ask for it: tasks at risk, tasks being augmented, new opportunities, and realistic timelines. The Craft framework didn't just make it more relevant, it made it more actionable. Instead of generic predictions, I now have a clear assessment I can actually use to plan my next career moves. This analysis is helpful, but in strategy, one clear story isn't enough. In actual decision making, the truth usually lies in the tension between different perspectives. If I only hear one voice, I risk missing the disagreements that actually reveal the most important choices. So why would I make career decisions based on one AI perspectives? Why not invite different experts to discuss this? With AI, I can hear world-leading experts' opinions on the topic I care about without paying anything. Well, almost without paying anything. That raises the obvious next question: which experts should I invite? This is trick 2, the expert panel trick. The principle here is avoiding sameness. If I just brainstorming off the topic over my head, I'll probably pick people who think like me. What I really need is a panel that's diverse, people who would actually disagree with each other, because that's where the real insight comes from. And I want to come up with the list now. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to present choices to me. This is where trick 3, goal-driven prompting, comes in. This trick is about being explicit with your goals and priorities. I tell ChatGPT exactly what I want to achieve, then let it optimize for those specific criteria. These are the focuses I care about the most: diversity of perspectives, the unique value each expert brings, potential blind spots I might have overlooked. Here's what that looks like in practice. The prompt itself is pretty straightforward. I'm simply stating what I want to achieve. Notice how each question targets one of three priorities directly. Let's see the answer. I've got a nice spread from technical to practical to visionary perspectives. But look at the fifth expert, critical ethical technologist. That feels a bit abstract to me. What does that actually mean in practice? But here's what caught my eye. ChatGPT mentioned job displacement in the description. That's a concrete concern I care about. Why not include someone who actually does the hiring? I'm going to point that out to ChatGPT. Why don't you suggest an expert in hiring? Now is much better. An HR expert who actually deals with hiring and job market trends is way more concrete than an abstract ethical technologist. They have real data on how AI is changing what companies look for when they hire PMs. Nice, I'm happy with the expert panel list. Here's what I want to achieve. A structured debate where I can see not just what each expert thinks, but where they agree versus where they contradict each other. The key is giving them the same dimensions to respond to, specific questions that let me compare their perspectives directly. I'm going to pick these questions. What part of my role is most at risk? What's most likely to be augmented by AI? What career opportunity should I prepare for? Now I just need to assemble the expert list and key questions together, ask them to discuss the same matter. This is the prompt I structured. Here's the response to that prompt. And ChatGPT has suggested, would you like me to synthesize those voices into consensus versus disagreement map? Well, I'm pretty curious what this will look like, so I'm going to respond yes. The answer is good. The format could be better. This would be easier to scan if it was structured differently. So let me ask for a better format. Now it's perfect. This table format is so much clearer than the paragraph version. I can instantly see the three areas where all experts agree. I really like the bottom section showing exactly where experts disagree. So this is stage 1. We went from generic career advice to multi-expert intelligence using 3 prompting tricks. Craft gave me personalized analysis. Goal-driven prompting ensured diverse perspectives. The expert panel reviewed both consensus and conflicts. Now I have expert insights, and next step is turn these insights into judgment. If this systematic approach is working for you so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more AI workflows that actually connect it together. Multiple perspectives don't automatically equal strategy. What I want is clarity on how to prepare. In stage 2, I'll look at both sides of the coin, the outside forces shaping my industry, and the inside edge I already have. I call this future by edge, matching possible futures with the strengths I can lean on. To do that, I'll start from the outside-in view. Trick 4, cross-scenario planning. Map alternative futures and decide how I'd prepare for each. And then the inside-out view. Trick 5, anti-resume reframing. Turn surface-level fragilities into assets and name my unfair advantages. Together, you'll get a short list of robust moves that win across futures. The problem with most career planning, we assume one future and build our strategy around it. But what if AI adoption happens twice as fast or half as fast as predicted? So instead, I'll prepare across multiple futures. I'll map 3 distinct possibilities: slow evolution, gradual adoption, and rapid disruption. Then I'll compare how each scenario shifts the key questions I care about. What are the risks? What are the opportunities? And what should I actually do? The goal is to find the career moves that hold up across all 3 scenarios. So the prompt really has 2 parts: the scenarios I laid out and the questions that define what I care about. Here's the prompt. I have added context to clarify what slow, gradual, and rapid mean. This scenario table is incredibly helpful. You quickly see patterns of which parts of your role are fragile versus durable, and where your edge could compound. You see how your career strategy can be developed differently depending on timing. I've mapped out different futures. That's the outside-in view. Next, it's time to focus on the other side of the strategy, the edge. What I bring that AI can't. If I only look at AI's advantages, I missed the chance to uncover my own. That's why I use trick 5, the anti-resume reframe. I want to flip the script and ask, what if the everything that makes me more biased, more emotional than AI, are actually my secret weapons? Instead of listing my strengths, I list my flaws, and then figure out how to turn them into advantages. It's a technique many seasoned professionals lean on in interviews, reframing weaknesses as hidden strengths. Now let's use AI to help with the reframing. All we need is a prompt that highlights our weaknesses, asks AI to transform them into competitive advantages, and specifies the format we'd like the answers in. The prompt could be something like, alright, let's take a look at what ChatGPT gives us. At first, it feels brutal. Biases, slower processing, emotional involvement. But then comes the magic. It flips uncomfortable truths into empowering insights. Inconsistent memory, it forces me to filter the noise and focus on what really matters, shaping the product's big story, not drowning in detail. Biases in research, that's actually intuition and empathy. I can sense the subtle cues AI misses, the unspoken user needs. That's brilliant. While everyone else is trying to become more AI like, I'm doubling down on what makes me irreplaceably human. So in stage 2, it wasn't just analysis, it was two prompting tricks that turned raw insight into strategic leverage. Cross scenario planning mapped out multiple futures side by side, so I wasn't gambling on single prediction. The anti-resume reframing flipped my flaws into hidden strengths, gives me an edge no AI can copy. But insights alone are still theory. In stage 3, I'll use the final prompting tricks to turn all of this into concrete action plans you can start tomorrow. So the questions becomes, how do I turn theory into action? That's where the final trick comes in, the layered roadmap. It's about translating insights into steps I can actually take. For a good action plan, you need layers, enough structure to be comprehensive, but not so many that it gets complicated. The real challenge here is which layers do you choose? Since we've already seen that AI can move at different speeds, I decided to build two parallel roadmaps, one for gradual adoption and one for rapid disruption. But I don't just want a laundry list of ideas. I need priorities. The high impact, feasible, uniquely human moves that actually matter. That way, whether the future is slow or fast, I'm not overwhelmed. Those actions also need to be organized by type. Skills to build, projects to run, networks to grow. So it's easy to follow. And finally, a clear timeline will be helpful. AI is moving so fast, it will shape careers for decades, likely for the rest of my life. At least that's how I see it. So I'm going to pick 30, 60, 90-day plan plus a 2-year horizon. That gives me a quick win right now and reasonable long-term bets I can build toward. Now I'm going to do a little trick. Turn it into a request and ask ChatGPT to generate a prompt for me. Normally I open another page so this main thread doesn't get cluttered. Okay, I'm gonna open a new ChatGPT window and drop the sentences in. Nice, this is the full prompt it gave me. I'm happy with this prompt, so I'll just copy it over to my main ChatGPT chat. Okay, let's look at the result. I would say it's pretty good. It gave me two parallel strategic playbooks, broken into short-term and long-term with clear buckets of skills to build, projects to run, networks to grow. Now you can either apply it by picking one or two quick wins in the next 30 days to build momentum, or keep asking AI to dive deeper into specific areas where you want more detail. This is stage 3, where strategy met reality. The prompting tricks here translate big ideas into daily moves. It's a bridge between big picture analysis and the practical steps I can actually take. We started with one overwhelming question. How will AI impact our career? Through 6 connected prompting tricks, we turn that anxiety into strategy. AI can generate endless ideas, but the real skill is knowing how to filter, refine, and focus them into what actually matters. This same 3-stage framework works for any complex decision. Whether you are planning a career move, launching a side businesses, or choosing which industry to build your future in. Most people collect random prompts. You now have a workflow, a way to think systematically with AI. And here's the big shift. In the AI age, The most valuable skill isn't knowing the answers, it's knowing how to ask the right questions in the right sequence.